traditional Irish funeral is unique, and it changed overnight.
This was nothing like we had ever dealt with before, and it was becoming more serious by the day.
Having to have conversations with families about what they couldn't do at a funeral, rather than trying to facilitate everything that they did want to do.
Early on, when you see funerals with 10 people in attendance, whereby with a COVID-related death, whereby you'd have a hearse going to a cemetery and 10 family members with no service, you knew you were into something different that you'd never seen before. Where you had another funeral I was at, whereby you had the hearse and the coffin outside the church, in the church grounds, with the family in the cars watching the Mass on live stream, and then we go to the cemetery. You knew this was something like we'd never seen before.
Well, the first thing obviously that went through for everybody, if I may, this year was greeting a family like this. And gone was the handshake, or I'm a bit of a hugger, so that was gone maybe at the end of a funeral to wish a family well and hope that we looked after their nearest and dearest and themselves as best we could on the day. That was taken from us, it was taken from the families.
The rawness in the early stages, yes, there was a terrible rawness in the early stages. People being upset by what they couldn't do or could do. Who was going to be allowed travel? That was a big thing. Can I ring my daughter in Germany? Can I ring my son in America? Can we hold the funeral until my son gets back from Australia? You know, and you had to say to them, you do know that if they come back, they're supposed to self-isolate, and that they also mightn't be able to get back to where they came from.
One of the big restrictions around funerals during COVID has been that people don't have the opportunity to see the deceased. It's a big tradition in Ireland that people like to come and view the deceased and sympathise with the family and so on. But with private reposings and no wakes and so on, that wasn't possible. So we would encourage families to use photographs of the deceased. So for example, in the death notices, and you probably notice this in death notices now, it's far more likely there'll be a photograph of the deceased. And that helps people to remember the person as they were, because they probably won't get a chance to see them.
Very early on, I think it was in early April, and I went to a house, and the cortege left the house, and it was about a half a mile to get outside the estate. And I saw something I'd never seen before. There must have been, outside every single house in the estate, there were 2 or 3 people, and they clapped the cortege as it went a half a mile outside through the estate. I'd never seen that before in my 33 years in the funeral business.
You know, we're not robots. Tears were coming out of my eyes, and I know all of the boys and girls would feel the same. When you see that, it's something new we'd never experienced before. We'd pass a house before, there was nobody there, we just stopped outside. Now you're talking up to, once at a time I saw a couple of 100 people at least, and it was wonderful. For that family to get that moment, that maybe rescued all of the other things that have been missing.
And I said to myself, going back there, I said, you know what, we're going to get through this. People will find a way to contribute, to support families, to be part of a community and show their support in some way. And that gave me great hope that we would get through it.